All right, here we go. Elijah Craig Barrel Proof has dropped the 12-year age statement. Everybody relax. Historically, Heaven Hill has removed or changed age statements multiple times through the history, especially when it comes to Elijah Craig. Now, we will go over all that, but most recently it's happened to Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. To be exact, the new B523. The second release of 2023 is here at not 12, but 11 years and 5 months old. Is it better than A123? Let's find out. It's the Mash and Drum. What's up, folks? I'm Jason C. from the Mash and Drum. Welcome back to the show. Like, subscribe, help grow the channel for 2023. Thank you so much, Whiskey Tube family. Now, there's a lot to unpack here with Elijah Craig Barrel Proof and all the changes throughout history. But before we do that, I really want to get into today's video sponsor. It is the game changer. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, ZBiotics. Today's sponsor is back. It is ZBiotics, the amazing prebiotic I've been using behind the scenes for a while now. With all the great feedback from viewers, it's really become the first drink of the night for a better tomorrow. I've been helping out with a lot of blends recently for, a couple different people, including some friends, just, kind of walking them through how I like to blend whiskey. And man, ZBiotics kept me going the next day. You have to drink a lot of whiskey in order to taste these blends and see if they're going right. And ZBiotics just works so amazing. So how does it work so well? So ZBiotics was developed by some very smart scientists who knew the real problem is not dehydration. It's actually a byproduct of alcohol that is most responsible for rough mornings after drinking. Now, ZBiotics produces an enzyme like the one your liver uses to break down this byproduct. So anytime I know I'm gonna have a few drinks or I'm gonna be blending again or getting ready for my Wednesday night live streams, I take ZBiotics and the next day I can wake up, get to work, I get back to the gym, and I bounce back even faster than ever. All you do is drink one of these about an hour before you start drinking, and that's it. You should still drink water, stay hydrated, and always get a good night's sleep if you can. But ZBiotics will definitely make it a lot easier for you to get out of bed or get off the couch the next day. I'm telling you, it's real science that works. There's no random plant extracts, no off-the-shelf ingredients, no sugar added, 100% money back guaranteed if it doesn't work. So give it a try. I mean, what do you got to lose? Here's how. So ZBiotics is offering again for all you viewers 15% off your first order of ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic by clicking the link in the description box and using my code MASHANDDRUM at checkout. Go to zbiotics.com/mashanddrum and use mashanddrum at checkout right now to get 15% off your first order. There's a 3-pack, a 6-pack, a 12-pack. Go grab some now, and thanks to ZBiotics for sponsoring the Mash and Drum, and thanks to you for making the sponsors happen. Cheers. So there was a social media post not that long ago showing a picture of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B523 with an age statement that's less than 12 years old, and people lost their damn minds. Basically asking, why did Heaven Hill decide to change things? Will there be older batches, maybe 13, maybe 15 years? Will the secondary market prices blow up? But most importantly, will it still be a great value in the future? Now, I think all those answers are still in flux, but one thing we know for sure is that this is not the first time Heaven Hill has switched up the age statements on Elijah Craig. Now, for various reasons, but mostly many think the availability of aged stocks is the reason why we have seen a lot of changes. You could go back to June 2012, Heaven Hill replaced the regular release of Elijah Craig 18-year bourbon with a more limited edition Elijah Craig 20-year. In April of 2015, Heaven Hill announced they are moving Elijah Craig's 12-year age statement to the back label on the 94 proof small batch mainly, and according to them, it was trying the best they could to keep the flavor profile the same. And people back then lost their friggin' minds. Now that was well and good until only 6 months later, in January 2016, Elijah Craig small batch then dropped the 12-year age statement altogether. In some people's minds, Heaven Hill had just lost it. Like they could not believe it. If you go back and read some of the reactions, they were insane.
I'm ready to go in, coach. Just give me a chance.
Now, if you fast forward to around March of 2021, Heaven Hill announced they were allowing single barrels of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof to be made available, but the barrels will only be about 8 to 11 years old. And then finally, in January of this year, Heaven Hill announced they're going to start putting flexible age statements on the labels of Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. Now, all the other qualities are staying the same. Non-chill filtered, uncut, preserving all those big, bold flavors. You'll still have the variances in proof, and now you'll have variances in age. Now, it all went pretty fast after that, because I think on Cinco de Mayo around social media, there was this infamous picture of the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B523 label with an 11-year, 5-month age statement on it. Then after that, there was a rumor of a possible 13-year age-stated C923 to follow this one in September. I mean, it's exhausting. So as you can see throughout history, there's just been a lot of changes to this brand in particular, but let's get back to Barrel Proof B523. It weighs in with an age statement of 11 years, 5 months, which, remember, by law reflects the youngest barrel of bourbon in the blend. So there could be some older stuff mixed into it. It is a small batch barrel proof bourbon. This one comes in at 124.2 proof. Again, still non-chill filtered. MSRP for this one, $70. All right, guys, let's dive right in here. On the nose, it's pretty much just what I would expect. It's like that Heaven Hill, a little bit of the nuttiness there, and it's an absolute brown sugar cinnamon bomb. When I tried this for the first time last Wednesday on my live stream, I think I was saying it was a little bit more savory. I got a lot more rye spice coming through here, and I think that's still the case. I feel like it's opened up a little bit. It's gotten a little bit sweeter, which is a good thing. I wasn't really crazy about the nose when I first had it. A dark chocolate note starting to pop out a little bit too. I'm not really getting a lot of the dark fruits you sometimes get in Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs. Those are my favorite when you get like that really nice Luxardo cherry. Not really picking that up here. Now, even though it's a little bit more savory, one thing that is still holding true, even, you know, 11 years, 5 months old instead of 12, I still feel like you get some of that Elijah Craig like rickhousiness to it. You know, going into a rick house and smelling, you know, the barrels and all the aromas in the rick house. I think there's still some of that there, which is probably my favorite attribute to Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. All right, let's try it on the palate, guys. Cheers. So, first sip of the day, and even though I had a pour before, you know, a lot of people ask me, hey, do you drink anything before you do reviews? I absolutely do. I always have a pour of 100 proof, like a bottle and bond bourbon, just to kind of, you know, get the palate going a little bit so you're not so surprised by a high proofer like this. But what I will say is, one of the attributes that I'm getting that I remember from Wednesday night is this this inherent ethanol alcohol. I mean, it drinks hot. This one is drinking a little bit hot. Even with me having a pour of 100 proof bourbon before I tried this, I could still get the alcohol on the back end of this. It's a little bit ethanol forward, which I'm not crazy about. So second sip, again, I'm still getting a lot more of the rye, like the savoriness of this one. A little bit more cinnamon heavy. It's a little bit more drying on the palate. Nuttiness there. Maybe like a toasted pecan type nuttiness too, because I am getting a hint of sweetness. That barrel char is still there. Still get like that ricky housiness to it. I mean, this doesn't really come off like anything is super different because the age statement got a little bit younger. So I think, you know, for people expecting this gigantic change, I don't know if we're going to have that quite yet. Man, it's coming off like a gingerbread cookie a little bit. Some gingerbread. There's a bitterness to it that I'm not crazy about. There's a definite bitterness that is kind of, I don't know if that's because it's a little bit more savory and because it's a little bit more drying, it's just slightly more bitter to me on this one, which if you guys watch my channel, you know I do not like that at all. But I'm also not getting, I mean, it's sweet, but I mean, I feel like it's missing like a big punch of flavor that I'm used to with Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. This one is just, I don't know. There's something missing to it. Let's do a quick comparison to A123. All right, so here's Elijah Craig Barrel Proof A123. Comes in at 125.6 proof. And I was a huge fan of this one when I first reviewed this. All right, let's dive in. So again, the brightness of B523 definitely comes through in comparison to the A123. The A123 to me is just, this one is just a little bit more, I think it has definitely some more oak punch to it, but I also think the flavors are just amped up in the A little bit more. I'll tell you what, the biggest difference between the two is this one finishes with this big full flavor, punch you in the throat type of flavor profile to it, even coming off of the B523. But the B523, it just drinks hot. I think the A123 is a little bit more dark, rich with some more oak to it. So it's going to really depend on what you like, obviously. But for me, for my palate, I still think the A123 is the, out of the two, is the better of the two. All right, final breakdown time. All right, guys, final breakdown for the Elijah Craig B523 with the new variable H statement on the label. Price for this one, MSRP $70. Secondary market pricing on this one, I don't think you're gonna see too much of an upcharge on this. What will be interesting is when those higher H statements come out to see what happens, you know, with those prices, with secondary market values. You know, everybody, all the flippers trying to scoop up the 13 years or the 14 years or whatever that H statement's going to look like, and seeing how much they can get for them. That's when it's going to get interesting on secondary. But for this being under 12 years, you know, I'd be surprised if we see these more than $120. Availability, again, you're going to have 3 times a year to scoop these up. It just depends on how prevalent these are. And also, like I always say, the availability of these is wonky. So depending on where you live, you could see this in 6 months, you could see it in 8 months. There's no telling when Elijah Craig Barrel Proof drops from state to state. Value for this, value is still high. I mean, value is always going to be high on Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, as long as it's $70. Now again, if we start seeing 9, 10-year age statements on them consecutively, and they still say it's $70, or the price starts going up, then maybe you could start questioning value. But today, it's still a great value at $70. The most I'd pay for this one in particular, I'm not paying more than $70 for this B523. Alternatives for this one are hard to come by because there's just not a lot of high age statement barrel proof whiskeys out there, especially at this price. So I mean, really the best alternative you could think of is Wild Turkey Rare Breed. I mean, you do have Stag, you know, from Buffalo Trace, but those are pretty impossible to find. You have Booker's, which is still about a little bit less than half the age of this most of the time. So they're all alternatives, but the age statement is what kind of keeps this one still in a realm of its own. And finally, is this a skip, a try before you buy, a buy, or a buy and back it up? For me, I don't know if I would say skip, because skip is pretty harsh for this. It's still a solid bourbon. It's just not nearly as good as some others I've had. So I'll say this, because I feel like no matter what I say, you guys are going to want to buy this. Everyone's going to want to try the 11-year, you know, 5-month age stated Elijah Craig Barrel Proof. But for my palate, I think this is a try before you buy. If you're more on a budget, it's a try before you buy. If you're, you know, if you're a huge fan, you're going to buy every single one of these. You're going to buy every single one, and it's really just going to depend on your palate of what you like over the other one. I mean, Heaven Hill has stated over and over that Elijah Craig small batch tastes better being a blend of 8 to 12-year-old barrels than it does if it's all 12-year-old. So I could see each of these 3 yearly releases having different age statements, some young, some old, some good, some better. These are never not worth picking up. It's really just, like I said, going to depend on what your palate likes best. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this review for the new Elijah Craig Barrel Proof B523. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit that subscribe button below. Please hit the like button. If you haven't yet, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. Let me know if you've had this one yet, what you think about it. Always love hearing your opinion. And as I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share it with. Cheers. See you next time right here on The Mash and Drum. Take care, everybody.